Incredible rescue. 30 bikers walk in to defend disabled girl after heartwarming assault exposed. It was a sunny afternoon in Willow Creek, a small Midwest town where the smell of freshly cut grass mingled with the sounds of laughter and playful shouts. But amidst all that joy sat 12-year-old Lily, her vibrant smile barely masking the pain of isolation she faced daily. Ever since the tragic accident that left her dependent on a wheelchair, Lily fought battles most couldn't see, especially against the relentless bullying from local teens. Just across the park, her single mother, Sarah, worked tirelessly at 2 waiting jobs, her hands calloused but her heart full of love and determination. She taught Lily the importance of resilience. "You're strong, sweetie," Sarah would say, as a soft smile danced on her lips. "Life's gonna throw things at you, but you've got to keep your head up." Those words were her lifeline, but on that fateful day, they were put to the ultimate test. The laughter around Lily turned cruel when a group of teens spotted her. What began as innocent fun turned into a heart-wrenching prank, leaving her humiliated as they knocked her wheelchair off balance. The world around her blurred, the laughter now stinging like 1,000 angry wasps. She could hear the mocking taunts echoing in her ears, each one slamming her spirit down further. But just as despair clouded her bright spirit, something incredible happened, as if from a scene of a movie. The roar of motorcycles filled the park. 30 bikers, tough-looking and rugged, descended like thunderclouds ready to unleash a storm. Led by Tom, a grizzled veteran sporting a leather jacket adorned with patches, they crashed into the chaotic scene, their presence commanding attention. It was like watching a hero emerge from the shadows, ready to right the wrongs. "Hey!" Tom shouted, pointing a finger that seemed to shake with righteous fury. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" The bullying teens froze, their laughter lost in the whirlwind of the bikers. The townsfolk gawked in disbelief. Would these outsiders really defend Lily? The atmosphere crackled with tension as the bikers stood by her side, fierce protectors against the cruelty that had plagued her. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With the bikers' fiery loyalty flaring up the storm, the situation escalated into an explosive confrontation. The locals, weary of preconceived ideas, gathered to witness this clash. "Lily deserves better," Tom declared, eyes ablaze with passion. The bikers rallied like a family, a makeshift unit engulfed in the heat of justice. The townsfolk, once apathetic, now feeling the weight of collective silence, began to murmur, caught in the gripping moment as the intensity grew. A silence settled over the park, a moment where everyone reconsidered the meaning of kindness and support. In that silence lingered hope, a flicker that something better might emerge from the ashes of prejudice. But would the bikers, who had just thrummed into town, succeed in forging bonds that could withstand their differences? Amidst the echoes of tension, the air hummed with unresolved anticipation. Would Lily finally see a community built around her? Or would the specter of bullying still loom over her? The scene stood poised on the edge, leaving one burning question in the air: could this defining moment spark a lasting change? Or would the chains of old habits hold firm? In the heart of the park, the atmosphere thickened with uncertainty, pulsating between fear and hope. Lily sat there, eyes darting between the angry teens and the fierce bikers. Glaring at the teens, Tom stepped forward, his boots thudding against the ground with authority. "You think it's funny to pick on someone who can't defend herself?" His voice was a low growl, cutting through the tension like a knife. Lily held her breath. The teens exchanged nervous glances, unsure of how to react. Sneering and shuffling, the leader of the group, a lanky boy named Kyle, attempted to muster confidence. "It's just a joke," he stammered, his bravado faltering under the resolute gaze of Tom and his crew. "A joke?" One of the bikers, a burly woman named Jessie, stepped forward, her arms crossed. You call that a joke? How would you feel if someone took your dignity and threw it in the dirt? With every syllable, she emanated fierce strength, her presence capturing the attention of the bystanders. Whispers rippled through the crowd, each person processing this unanticipated defense. Suddenly, laughter erupted from a small circle of kids watching nearby. But it wasn't tea for the teens. They were leaning towards the bikers, softly cheering for courage that was long missing in their own hearts. An unexpected camaraderie seemed to form, uniting the onlookers in a collective shifting of perceptions. Lily felt her heart lift, the weight of isolation loosening its grip, if only for a moment. Across the park, Sarah sensed the change too. She rushed forward, her eyes scanning the scene. "Lily," she called, her voice filled with warmth as she reached her daughter's side. Seeing the bikers rallying around Lily brought her an overwhelming mix of pride and gratitude. For so long, Sarah had worried for her daughter's safety and happiness. Now, hope sparked anew as she joined the crowd, the bikers a beacon of light shining through her darkness. "Let us show her some love, folks," Tom said, glancing towards the gathering. The bikers began to chant, "Lily, Lily, Lily." Their hard-edged voices softened into an anthem of support. Slowly, hesitant at first, the townsfolk joined in, the echoes of the name reverberating like a precious song of acceptance. Lily's cheeks flushed with warmth, her heart pounding with disbelief. Was this really happening? As the chants continued, Kyle could feel the tide turning. The confidence drained from him, revealing the boy beneath the bravado. The other teens lingered awkwardly, unsure how to respond to the solidarity blossoming around them. "Why do you care?" Kyle finally asked, the edge of anger replaced by confusion. "She's just a loser." Instantly, the atmosphere thickened again, drawing both support and ire in response. Tom stepped forward once more, firm and unwavering. "She's not a loser. She's a fighter. Like all of us." His words stirred something deep within Lily. It felt as though a gate had been opened, revealing a truth she had long been waiting to hear. But just as the energy seemed to blossom into something beautiful, a shadow fell over the crowd. A figure pushed through, and whispers turned to gasps. The tension returned, carrying the weight of a different kind of disruption. "Tom!" shouted a newcomer, his voice booming, and it contained a warning as deep as the cracked asphalt where they stood. "What's going on here? You know we don't tolerate this kind of noise in our town." Lily's stomach turned. Was this another threat? Would this moment slip away before she could grasp it? The crowd grew silent, eyes shifting, anticipation crackling in the air. Lily could feel hearts beating, fingers gripping their phones as the onlookers waited. Would Tom stand firm? Would Lily find the strength she desperately needed? In this moment between hope and despair, a choice loomed before them all. What would they decide to protect? The newcomer stood tall, his shadow stretching across the anxious crowd. He was the town sheriff, known for his strict enforcement of the rules. He had a reputation for squashing any disturbances, and today was no different. The murmurs bubbled beneath the surface like a boil ready to burst. "Make way," he commanded, striding closer to Tom. "What's all this ruckus? People are trying to enjoy their day, not listen to your shouting." His eyes bore into Tom's, but Tom held his ground with a steady gaze, refusing to let the sheriff intimidate him. "People are standing up for one another, Sheriff," Tom countered, his voice unwavering. "And that includes Lily." At the mention of her name, the crowd turned to look at Lily. She felt both exposed and empowered, a spotlight shining brightly on the turmoil within her. Thomas' defense was a lifeline. The sheriff's expression changed subtly, confusion flickering across his features as he processed the scene. He scanned the faces around him, the crowd filled with individuals who were no longer passive observers, but participants ready to stand their ground. "Lily," he said slowly, his voice losing some of its bluster, "is this what you want? To be the center of this chaos?" Lily's heart raced, every eye in the park suddenly fixed on her. Would she be brave enough to speak? The thought sent shivers down her spine. But the chant of her name echoed in her ears, a chorus that buzzed with something new: hope, Drawing a deep breath, she found her voice, a quiver breaking through her words. I just want to be treated like everyone else. I'm not a loser. I'm part of this community, and I want to belong. The crowd erupted in supportive cheers, their unity ringing out against the sheriff's skepticism. The chant now filled the air like a warm blanket, wrapping Lily in acceptance. It was then she saw Sarah in the crowd, eyes glistening with pride. For a moment, the sheriff's stern demeanor cracked, revealing a flicker of understanding. But frustration twisted his features as he surveyed the scene. You all know the rules. This is a public space. Jessie stepped up, her imposing figure casting a long shadow that disrupted the sheriff's authority. You think rules are more important than people? These kids are learning something here today to stand together rather than apart. We all deserve that lesson. The atmosphere swayed, tension melting into something more expansive. Bikers, townsfolk, and even the teens who once bullied Lily began to shift, uncertain yet curious about this new perspective. What happens next? Lily wondered, hope coursing through her veins. She felt her heart pound in anticipation of the choices being made. The sheriff seemed to hesitate, caught in a conflict between duty and humanity. Maybe you're right, he finally said, his voice quieter now, almost subdued. But I can't let this go unchecked. With those words hung in the air like an unanswered question, the crowd held its breath, uncertainty once more settling among them. Lily felt a rush of defiance surge through her. She wasn't just any girl. She was part of something bigger than herself now. Take a stand. The words spilled from her lips before she could filter them. We're not backing down. Not today. The fervor in the crowd flickered to life again, as people nodded in agreement, pressing closer to Lily. But the sheriff wasn't done. Then let's see just how far you're willing to go, he said, voice dripping with something ominous that sent a chill through the crowd. What would happen next? Would they rally even further, or would they fall back? Lily's heart raced as she prepared for whatever awaited them, knowing full well that she had taken her first real stand. As the weight of choices hung in the air, Lily couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning of a larger fight for acceptance, connection, and change. Would they succeed, or would fear prevail once again? The sheriff's words echoed, and the crowd felt the air shift, a tangible current of tension crackling like static before a storm. Each heartbeat seemed amplified, loud against the flickering hopes of the townsfolk. Are you calling us out, Sheriff? Shouted a voice from the back. It was one of the bikers, a woman with a tattoo of a phoenix rising on her arm. The crowd turned to her, a spark igniting in the faces of those who had gathered. Yeah, we're not afraid. Another voice added, an echo of laughter behind the defiance. We've got Lily's back. Always. The atmosphere transformed, the initial shock wearing off and being replaced with a fierce resolve. Tom's earlier surge of courage seemed to ripple out, reaching each corner of the park. People joined hand in hand. An unbreakable chain formed around Lily, encompassing her in support. The sheriff squared his shoulders as he saw the numbers grow, doubt flickering behind his imposing facade. You all need to calm down. This isn't how we solve problems. Lily could feel her voice warming, fueled by the energy of the crowd. We're tired of keeping quiet, tired of hiding. She stepped forward a few paces, eyes locked on the sheriff. You care more about these rules than you do about us. At that moment, she could see the anxious faces of her friends, their hearts laid bare and vulnerable. She felt the weight of their expectations, and instead of fear, it ignited something deep inside her, a fierce conviction. The crowd murmured their agreement, voices rising in unison. We want respect. We want to belong. The sheriff looked out, disbelief etched on his face. He had always seen a crowd as something to control, yet here they stood, a unit forged in resilience. His heavy boots echoed in the silence, signaling his discomfort as he paced before them, weighing his options. The bikers, now emboldened, took a small step closer to the sheriff, seemingly unfazed. We're not backing down from this fight. Not for Lily, not for anyone. The Phoenix woman declared, her eyes fierce, voice steady. We're all here because we matter, Sheriff, and you're going to treat us that way. The crowd clapped and cheered, fierce clinks of defiance that ricocheted around the park, strengthening the fragile walls of fear. Lily felt the swell of energy, weaving through the crowd, igniting a fire of hope and connection. She was no longer a solitary figure in the spotlight. She was a thread woven into a tapestry that was alive and breathing, but lingering uncertainty still danced in the sheriff's gaze. His authority had slipped. He could see that these people were not going to back down. A realization sank in their collective hearts, beat louder than the echo of his badge. "I won't let you disrupt this town," he warned, though the tremor in his voice betrayed the hesitation brewing beneath. "I will uphold the law." "And what law is that?" Tom challenged, stepping forward, fists balled at his sides. "A law that says we can't stand up for one another? A law that keeps us apart rather than together?" The sheriff inhaled deeply, clearly on the verge of retreating into his previous mindset, but the sight of the defiant faces surrounding him painted a different picture. "What does it take to change things?" Lily's voice cut through the tension, her question ringing out in the silence. "Are you really willing to show us that you can listen?" The crowd hushed, all eyes on the sheriff, waiting for his answer like a fragile thread, holding everything in place. The moment felt pregnant with possibility as Lily's heart raced. Would he finally see the community he was meant to protect? And just when it seemed that the sheriff might yield, a loud crash echoed from beyond the park, slicing through the tension. The crowd turned as one, confusion spreading like wildfire at the unexpected sound. Lily's stomach twisted. What now? In that moment of distraction, everything felt precarious, the delicate balance of hope dangling as uncertainties began to cloud the clarity of their fight. Would this moment of vulnerability be the turning point they had desperately sought, or a signal of something more dangerous approaching? The crowd whipped around, adrenaline surging as the crash echoed in the air. The sheriff, too, turned. He scanned the horizon, eyes narrowing. The atmosphere shifted, tension coiling tighter, stifling hope amid uncertainty. What was that? Someone whispered, a tremor of fear creeping into their voice. Lily's heart pounded in her chest, each thud mixing with the ripples of worry spreading through the crowd. She could feel Tom's arm tighten protectively around her shoulders. They were a unit, a misshapen family standing tall against the looming storm. "Stay together," the Phoenix woman shouted, stepping forward, her fierce expression unwavering. She was a beacon, steadying the wavering spirits. A group of bikers shifted, forming a protective barrier around Lily and her friends. They looked unyielding, their chests puffed up with determination as the sheriff hesitated, shouting orders to investigate the sound. Lily caught a glimpse of movement at the edge of the park. A truck, a dark blue one, swerved into sight, its tires kicking up gravel. Black dust clouded the air, swirling like the emotions clogging her throat. "What is happening?" someone gasped, and for a second, the knot in her stomach twisted painfully tighter. Every doubt bubbled back to the surface. Would this change everything? A sudden crash against the truck's side sent a jolt through the crowd. A figure stumbled out, a tall man with wild hair flailing like a tangled mess, his face etched with panic. "Help! Help!" he screamed, voice hoarse. Before anyone could react, he dashed toward the sheriff, desperation painted across his features. "They're after my sister. They have her." Those words shattered the chaos into complete silence, naked fear gripping every face in the park. The bikers exchanged glances, their bravado momentarily vanishing into grim seriousness. Lily took an involuntary step forward, heart racing. "What do you mean?" she called out, instinctively knowing that this was bigger than their fight. Everyone turned their focus onto the stranger, the reality of their own struggles dimming in the shadow of a more urgent danger. Two men. They took her. The man's frantic gestures painted a picture of terror. They drove off toward the woods. "They'll hurt her if we don't get behind me," the sheriff barked, suddenly back in control, shoving aside skepticism. But Lily's heart had already decided. She wouldn't stand by while someone else suffered. "We can't let this happen." The words slipped out. "They need our help. We need to go." Tom added, squeezing her hand, but fear was already being replaced by fire. The crowd buzzed again, voices rising with renewed energy. Lilies of courage were now blooming where panic had threatened to drown them. The bikers began revving their engines, the noise roaring like thunder. Each roar fortified the fervor within Lily. "Who's coming with me?" she shouted, determination bursting forth. In the wake of her words, she felt people moving toward her. A wave of solidarity, women and men stepping up, claiming their space. "I'll go," the Phoenix woman cried, her tattoo gleaming fiercely in the light, summoning additional bikers. Lily could feel the fear of the unknown tighten her throat, but the grit of her connection with everyone around her ignited her spirit. This wasn't about one person anymore. It was about family, their lives intertwined. Just as they readied themselves to march forward, another sound fractured the air, the crack of a branch from the woods. And then, silence. The sheriff glanced at Lily, and a flicker of something unspoken passed between them, recognition. A shared understanding that changed everything. "What do we do now?" Lily whispered, feeling the weight of the moment unfold. Would they face what lurked beyond the trees? Or would they retreat in fear? But the question hung like a riddle in the air, waiting for answers that wouldn't come easily. Each second ticked by, every heartbeat laced with urgency. What was waiting for them in the shadows? Lily held her breath, every muscle tensed, as the silence wrapped around the crowd. The tension felt palpable, almost thick enough to cut. The air was electric with anticipation, and she could see fear reflected in the faces surrounding her. She stole a quick glance at Tom, whose eyes betrayed uncertainty, despite his grip around her arm being firm. "Stay close," he whispered, his voice low but steady. Lily nodded, an unspoken pact settling between them. There was no turning back. "Let us move," the sheriff barked, rallying the group. The bikers surged forward, engines revving, the roar awakening a primal energy in the crowd. It felt like a heartbeat, a collective pulse of fear and bravery intertwining. "Lily, wait." Tom's voice broke through her determination. She halted, turning back to him. "Tom, we can't just stand here. We have to." "I know," he interrupted, his expression fierce but softened by concern. "Just promise me you'll be careful." She met his gaze, finding comfort in the storm of worry. "I will." With that, they joined the group, bolstered by a newfound sense of purpose. As they moved toward the edge of the woods, the light shifted, casting long shadows that danced playfully around the trees. It was a stark contrast to the unease lingering in the air. Suddenly, a chant rose from the bikers' gruff voices, harmonizing into a call to arms. For family, for friends. The sound charged the atmosphere, and with each word, Lily felt her heart race faster. She and Tom slipped through the throng, climbing onto the nearest motorcycle that had its engine roaring. "Let us go," she urged, feeling the rush of adrenaline settle into her bones. The sheriff led the charge, his sheriff's star glinting as he took the lead. Bikers fell in line, their allegiance fueled by the urgency ahead. It was like a scene from a movie, every twist of the road revealing more than just trees, but unbreakable bonds forged through shared purpose. Then, they reached a clearing, and the woods unveiled their secrets. The truck, just ahead, was parked haphazardly, and two shadowy figures loomed nearby, their presence sinister against the backdrop of the thinning light. "There," one of the bikers shouted, pointing toward the truck. "We've got to move." Lily felt the collective anxiety surge again, but she also sensed the electric anticipation. This was their moment. As roars of engines echoed behind her, she steeled herself for what lay ahead. "Go, go." The sheriff gave the command, and they charged forward as a unit. But just as they reached the truck, one of the figures turned, holding a desperate girl in his grasp. She looked terrified, her eyes reflecting the chaos surrounding her. "No!" Lily cried out instinctively, pushing her way through the bikers. Every instinct screamed for her to reach the girl, to save her from the grip of uncertainty and fear she had known all too well. The figure tightened his hold, but the bikers surged forward, and a scuffle erupted. Lily felt the heat of the moment. This was the clash between fear and defiance, darkness and light. Tom was right behind her, ready to fight for what mattered. "Don't let them take her," he yelled, as other bikers joined the fray. The screams faded into chaos, competing with the roar of engines and the rustling of the woods. Every second stretched as Lily watched the scene unfold before her, her heart pounding like a drum echoing against the certainty of the moment. Would they manage to save the girl, or would uncertainty fall heavier than the shadows closing in? In the chaos, Lily's eyes caught movement out of the corner. A third figure emerged, hidden until now, an ominous presence that sent chill through her spine. What more was lurking in the shadows? As the struggle unfolded, Lily felt the stakes rise. This was no longer just about one girl, but about the very fight for their future. Would this rescue ignite hope, or plunge them deeper into despair? Lily's heart raced as the chaos unfolded before her, a storm of sound and fear swirling around them. She could barely make sense of it. The shadowy figure tightened his grip on the girl, pulling her closer, a danger looming over their heads like a storm threatening to break. "Get back," one of the bikers shouted, lunging forward, but the figure drew a knife, glinting menacingly in the fading light. The air thickened with fear. Lily's gut twisted as she felt every emotion rise to the surface, a flood of drive forcing her to act. Tom's voice broke through the noise, urgent and commanding. "We have to distract him. Get his attention." Lily nodded, her instincts kicking in. She took a deep breath, stepping forward, closer to the danger. "Hey!" she shouted, shaking, but determination fueled her voice. "Let her go." The figure turned, surprise crashing across his face, and for a fleeting moment, Lily saw weakness. She seized that chance, her heart pounding louder than the engines around them. The world seemed to slow as she sprinted forward, adrenaline coursing through her veins. "Lily!" Tom yelled, his face a mask of fear and concern. With a surge of disbelief, the bikers moved as one, shouting and raising their voices, a collective roar that shook the very ground under them. It seemed to unite them, a wall of defiance against the creeping chaos. Lily dove towards the figure, hands outstretched, feeling the heat of the moment against her skin. "Hold on. We're coming," another biker yelled, joining her in the charge. In a heartbeat, the grip on the girl loosened as the figure hesitated, turning to face the oncoming wave of bikers. But it wasn't just the bikers who rushed forward. It was the spirit of the community, the love for one another forged through shared experiences, tears, and laughter that led them. Lily lunged, grabbing the girl's arm. "I've got you. Hold on." With a sharp yank, she pulled her free, and in the chaos that ensued, the girl fell into her arms, wide-eyed and shaking. Relief flooded Lily's chest, but it was short-lived. The figure wasn't backing down. He lunged toward them, knife poised, a dark intent behind his eyes. "The girl!" someone shouted, breaking Lily's momentary daze. Tom stepped in front of her, a protective shield against the threat. "Get her to safety," he barked, his eyes fierce with determination. Lily watched as he faced the figure down, fists clenched, anger radiating from him in waves. The other bikers fueled the fire of hostility bubbling in the air. Some rushed toward Tom, trying to end the skirmish before it could escalate further. Lily's heart ached, teetering between the need to protect the girl in her arms and the instinct to rally behind Tom. "Please," the girl whispered, her voice shaky. "I'm here," Lily breathed, cradling her like porcelain. "You're safe now." The world around them felt like it was spinning out of control, each second stretching longer than the last, the shadows creeping back, threats rising in the forms of those still out there, hiding in the uncertainty of the dark. But just as the tension peaked and a clash broke out amongst the bikers and the figures, another shadow stepped forward from the edge of the woods, bringing with it an unmistakable familiarity that sent chills racing down Lily's spine. "Stop!" The voice rang out, cutting through the chaos with an authority that demanded attention. It carried a weight that hinted at history, secrets, and perhaps betrayal. Lily turned, confusion swirling within her. Who was this new figure? What did they want? The shifting dynamics spun her mind in circles. Would this unexpected figure serve as salvation, or unleash deeper horrors yet unseen. The forest's dark outline framed the figure that emerged, a silhouette against the dying light. The voice was commanding yet eerily familiar, sending a shiver through Lily. "What are you doing here?" she whispered, heart racing as the newcomer stepped closer. The chaotic energy simmered, pulling attention away from the fight. It was Sam, Lily's childhood friend, who had vanished years ago under strange circumstances. The memory of their laughter echoed in Lily's mind, a stark contrast to the situation unfolding before her. "Sam?" Lily breathed, disbelief and hope intertwining in her voice. Her instincts wrestled uneasily. The knife was still poised, the tension thick enough to choke. Sam's eyes were hard, but they softened just for a moment as they met Lily's. In that shared look, Lily caught a glimpse of the boy she once knew, the one who had chased her through endless fields and shared whispered secrets. "Get everyone back," Sam commanded, his voice cutting through the confusion like a knife. The bikers hesitated, shifting their focus from the figure with the knife to the unexpected arrival. Lily clutched the girl tighter, shielding her as she braced for a fight that felt imminent. She saw Tom, expression frozen in uncertainty, glancing back at the tumultuous scene. "What do you mean? You know him?" "No," Sam replied sharply, keeping his eyes locked on the figure, who was now looking equally confused. "But I know this is about more than just a girl. Back away. Trust me." The authority in Sam's voice, strong as steel, seemed to imbue the bikers with courage. They moved back casually, still wary, but listening. Lily felt the girl trembling in her arms, her tiny form absorbing the chaos surrounding them. "Lily, stay behind me," Sam urged, stepping forward. "I need to handle this." "Handle what?" Lily barked back, the spark of panic rising in her chest. "You can't just I can," he shouted. "I know what he wants." The shadowy figure, still clenching the knife, tensed as Sam drew nearer. The air felt electric, a crackling undercurrent of unresolved histories swirling around them. "Let her go," Sam demanded, voice steady. "This is not worth it. Stay back." The figure spat, eyes darting between Sam and the group of bikers who stood poised for action. "You don't know me." Yet Sam's gaze held an unyielding strength. "Try me," he challenged, and the very ground seemed to vibrate with his words. Lily felt a glimmer of hope igniting deep within her. Maybe this was the savior they needed. But the girl in her arms leaned closer, fear overtaking the relief. "Please, don't hurt him," she cried, her voice a fragile whisper that broke through the intensity. In that moment the world stopped. Lily blinked back tears, realizing the fight was not about her or the bikers. It was about trust, innocence, and choices no one should have to make. "Wait," Lily interjected, stepping forward. "What do you want?" The figure hesitated just long enough for uncertainty to quiver in the air. The tension was a thick thread ready to snap, emotions raw and exposed like open wounds. As all eyes turned to Sam and the shadowy figure, it became clear that the next move would change everything. Would Sam's revelations bring light or deepen the shadows over them all? "Please," Sam murmured, his voice softer but firmly resolute. "Just let us talk." But could words truly bridge the chasm that threatened to swallow them whole? Lily's heart pounded loudly in her chest. The moment hung in the air, and with a tense inhale, everything was about to unfold. What secrets had Sam kept, and were they about to change the course of their lives forever? The silence stretched, heavy and thick, as Sam's gaze remained firmly fixed on the figure before him. With each heartbeat, Lily's anxiety skittered across her veins. She felt the cold bite of the approaching night. Danger was all around them, but she focused on Sam, his face a mixture of determination and something else she couldn't quite place. "I can help you," Sam said, his voice finding a strange, soothing rhythm. "You don't have to do this. Whatever it is, we can work it out." The figure wavered, the knife lowering just a fraction. Lily caught a fleeting moment of vulnerability in those dark eyes, the kind you'd miss if you weren't paying attention. She saw pain there, raw, untamed, refusing to be hidden. "Help?" the figure hissed. "You think this is about help? You don't want to hurt anyone," Sam replied, not a trace of fear in his voice now. You're scared. You feel trapped. Talk to me. Lily squeezed the girl closer, grounding herself in the moment. She could feel the warmth of the child's small body against her, and something instinctual kicked within her. She had to protect this life. Sam wasn't just fighting for his own sake. He was fighting for all of them. Please, Lily added, her heart pleading through her words. You don't have to be alone. We can be here for you together. The figure flinched at her voice, the knife trembling in their grip. You don't know what it's like, they muttered, barely audible. You've never walked my path. Then show us, Sam urged, stepping closer, but maintaining a respectful distance to avoid instigating. Let us understand. At that moment, tension ebbed slightly, replaced by a stillness that felt almost fragile. The once chaotic forest around them faded into a hushed backdrop, the only sound the quiet rustling of leaves in the fading light. The girl in Lily's arms dared to peek at the figure, her small features scrunched in concern. Please don't hurt him, she whispered again, the innocence in her gaze connecting the tangled emotions swirling effortlessly through them all. His name is Sam, she continued, the simplicity of her words disarming. He used to run and play just like us. He wouldn't hurt you. The figure hesitated, their grip on the knife slackening a fraction more. But fear on their face was replaced by something almost tender, an echo of a past they couldn't escape, yet longed to leave behind. I can't, they choked, voice breaking. I can't turn back. Sam didn't flinch. The strength in his eyes remained unwavering. You can. It starts with this moment. Don't throw your life away. Let us choose differently. Every set of eyes held breath, caught in the tight grip of emotion swirling like autumn leaves in a gust of wind. The air felt charged with potential, electrifying the space between them, a chance for peace rather than conflict. But would the figure choose the path of hope or doom? Sam's intentions burned with sincerity, but would they be enough to break the chain binding someone so desperate? Just as the tension began to shift, the distant sounds of revving engines echoed through the trees, a reminder that they weren't alone in this fight. Sam! Tom shouted from the sidelines, urgency filling his tone. We need to move. The impending distraction sent a jolt through the figure, the knife poised to strike once again. Sam had moments a heartbeat before everything could change. Wait! Lily screamed, heart pounding, a surge of dread crashing through her. Don't let it end this way. Would they stand together, emerging into solidarity? Or would they spiral back into chaos? The next heartbeat could decide their fate. The darkness loomed, thick with anticipation and fear, as Lily held her breath, her heart hammering in her chest. Time stretched infuriatingly in the standoff. Sam remained undeterred, his eyes steady on the weapon, steady on the soul behind it. Don't do this, he pleaded. This is not where you belong. Stop! The figure's voice cracked with desperation, the knife wavering slightly in their grip. You don't understand how far I've fallen. This is all I have left. But Lily could see it, cracks forming in their bravado. She stepped forward, her voice rising above the tension. You don't need to drown in that darkness. There are people here who want to help you. You can find a way back. The girl in her arms, shivering with fear, leaned closer, her tiny hand reaching out toward the figure. Please, I just want everyone to be safe. Her innocence cut through the night like a beacon. The figure hesitated longer, eyes darting between Sam and Lily, the conflict within them brewing in a storm of emotion. Would they succumb to despair, or could they grasp the chance at redemption? Let us talk, Sam urged once more, voice unyielding yet gentle. You're not alone. You don't have to face this by yourself. Just then, the sounds of bikes became impossibly loud, engines roaring like a pack of wolves defending their territory. The impending approach of the bikers, a whirlwind of leather and courage, filled the air with a fierce solidarity that bordered on palpable with a tremor. The figure lowered the knife slightly, but the battle within was still ongoing. You don't know what I've done, what I've become. Yes, but we can change what happens next. Lily's heart surged. She was no longer just holding on to that girl, she was inextricably tied to this moment, this choice. Does this define you, or will you reach for something more? You are not beyond help or hope. The figure's breath hitched as they weighed the words light breaking through a long-held darkness. Take the leap, Sam whispered, stepping forward, his timing breaching the wall of fear with raw sincerity. You can find your way back with us. Together we can find a better path. The tension waned, and in that drawn-out silence, a flicker of understanding ignited between them. The knife fell to the dirt with a deadened thud. Cosmic weight lifted from the crushed leaves beneath. I don't know how the figure breathed, tears brimming in their eyes now, vulnerability breaking through. You start right here, right now, Sam said, extending his hand gently but firmly. The biker crew held their breaths, unity echoing around them as they witnessed this pivotal moment. Lily felt her body shake with overwhelming relief and pride. The park light flickered, illuminating the faces of every participant, reflecting the sentiment of connection building once more. It's not too late. At long last, the figure took a step back, abandoning the shadows for the conscience that had beckoned all along. I will try, they murmured, and a wave of acceptance surged through the air, thawing cold hearts and bridging gaps that had felt insurmountable. Cheers erupted, a sonorous chorus of solidarity. The bikers, townsfolk, and even the frightened girl in Lily's arms found an emotional channel to release years of pent-up frustration, encouragement pulsing like the stars overhead. In that charged moment, tears of joy streamed down Sarah's cheeks as she hugged Lily tight, all mixed with gratitude flooding her heart. You did it, she whispered, nothing but wonder in her gaze. The town sheriff, witnessing the transformation unfold, cleared his throat. Let us find a way to offer safety and connection, he proposed, stepping forward with tentative resolution. The community was ready to help, bonded by collective strength. Lily felt hope blossom within her. This wasn't just about her anymore. It was about healing fractured spirits and weaving connections that would last beyond this day. This is just the beginning, she proclaimed, a radiant smile lighting her face. The figure took a step closer to Sam, and the tension melted into a tentative alliance, forged by understanding. In the aftermath, as laughter and voices filled the park again, Lily found herself encircled by those who had once been strangers, basking in the warmth enveloping them all. Moments passed, and within that shared laughter, the shadows of isolation shrank into oblivion. Lily knew they would rise from the remnants of their past, together, glowing brightly like a fire, courageous and connected. She finally felt worthy of belonging, of love. No longer alone, she lifted her head high, knowing that they had taken a stand against adversity and carved a path toward a shared future where kindness and acceptance flourished. And just before the sun dipped below the horizon, a brilliant hue surrounded them all, painting the night sky with the promise of a fresh beginning. Now, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and boost our mission of change. Comment your reactions and feelings about this emotional ending. Your voice matters. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting this channel through these actions.